Okay, so following Passchendaele, we'll see once again there's this empty feeling here and great protest at home. In fact, Robert Borden essentially threatened England. He said, if ever again there's a repeat uh, of Passchendaele, he said, never again will the empire be able to call upon Canada for its support. So it's a great symbol of the frustration that existed following this battle. It almost felt like the Somme all over again, like we hadn't learned our lesson here about sending men into miserable conditions. And maybe most frustrating of all, the war doesn't end. Well, 1917 turns to 1918. Now, curiously, in the early stages of 1918, because of some pivotal developments that happened in 1917, number one, Russia on the Eastern Front dropping out as a result of the Russian Revolution, and number two, the United States finally joining in and declaring war. Germany feels the pressure here to try to bring an end to the war, and they put upon their great sort of final push, and it is very successful. Germany felt the pressure to try to bring an end to the war before the United States arrived in full force, and thought that it could do so without having Russia sort of harassing it in the east. Um, the problem with Germany, though, is that inevitably they are quite literally running out of gas. I mean, they're running out of men, they're running out of food, they're running out of weapons and ammunition, and running out of steam. And their great push does not result in an end to the war. And instead, with the arrival of American reinforcements here, the Allies are going to be able to mount their final campaign, and this is referred to as the last 100 days. Now, this is not a single battle. This is a series of battles that occur over the course of the 100 days here from August to November of 1918. Now, Canada, once again, is at front and center stage. The Canadian Corps, led by Arthur Currie, here are going to fight in several battles, most notably the Battle of Amiens. And Amiens is generally regarded as the real sort of final straw that broke the camel's back in the war. And the Canadian Corps, that battle is quite fascinating. The Canadians are kind of sneaking around in the woods here, and they essentially surprise the Germans at Amiens, and they manage to overrun them and break through. Now, that's another great success for Canada. The casualties, once again, though, are high. You can see 46,000 casualties are suffered, but they defeat almost a quarter of the entire German army. I mean, and here's a country that enters this war with no army to speak of, no previous combat experience or military history, and here we are at the end of it, playing a pivotal role in the outcome of this war. So we can really see the growth of Canada as a nation here as a result of its experience in the war itself. Now, symbolically for us, and maybe not so, we'll see an armistice is going to be reached, which is an agreement to stop fighting at 11 a.m. on November 11th, 1918. And this is the date that symbolically, or the moment that symbolically or officially ends World War I. And of course, for us, symbolically, November 11th at 11 a.m., we annually have a Remembrance Day service, and we have that moment of silence, and it is to commemorate this moment here, the ending of the Great War. Watch this video clip. It's a good one. And here we can see, all right, this is the last 2 minutes of fighting here, taken, and much different, right? Not battlefield, right? So the Germans have been on the retreat here. We're seeing totally different style of fighting, open field battles, street fighting, etc., to try to bring about that surrender. And here we get a sense, right? German prisoners being rounded up after the Battle of Amiens, just the number of men. And here we've got Canadians crossing the Rhine into Germany. There's another little video clip here for you to click on and watch. All right, so at the end of it all, we can see some significant numbers, and it's massive. Take a look at this slide and analyze the data, and think about a couple of things. Who suffered the most? What was the real toll here, and how might this impact the world going forward? What would be different? Would there be a shift in power? Would there be change? And there are many questions that are going to come from the end of this war, even though the fighting stops. What are the results? And that's sort of where we're going to leave off and go.